Hello students, my name is Dr. Amit Magdum. I am assistant professor in the Department of Anatomy, Jain Medical College. So today I am going to demonstrate the gross anatomy of testis.
In this tray you can see there are two testes. The testis is a male gonad. You can see this is the right testis, this is the left testis. So testis is a male gonad. It is homologous with the ovary in case of females. It's a mobile organ which lies inside the half of the scrotal sac. So the testis is lying in the scrotum, in the scrotal sac. Now we'll come to the shape and the measurements. You can see here, as you can see here, the shape of the testis is oval or ellipsoid. Okay, it looks like as if it is compressed from side to side. Okay, so this is the testis. So it is ellipsoidal or oval in shape, and it looks like as if it is compressed from side to side. The measurements, it measures approximately 4 centimeter in length, 4 centimeter in length, and 3 centimeter in anterior posterior diameter. So this is anterior side, this is posterior side. So anterior posterior diameter is around 3 centimeter, whereas the width is around 2 to 2.5 centimeter. You can easily remember 4 into 3 into 2. So 4 centimeter in length, 3 centimeter anterior posterior, and 2 centimeter, that is the width or the breadth. Okay, so these are the measurements of the testis, and the weight of the testis is around 10 to 15 grams. So it's very much less weight. So you can see that it is just around 10 to 15 grams. Now coming to the position of the testis in the scrotum. So testis is suspended in the scrotum by spermatic cord. You can see here, this is the spermatic cord. So the testis is suspended in the scrotum by this spermatic cord. Okay, and this testis is lying not vertically, it is lying obliquely. It is lying obliquely, so that its upper part, this upper part or the upper pole is slightly forwards and laterally. So if I hold like this, so the testis is slightly forwards and facing laterally. This is right testis, so this is slightly facing forwards and laterally like this. Okay, and whereas the lower side, the lower pole is facing backwards and medially, so upper side is facing laterally and forwards, whereas the lower pole is facing medially and backwards. Please remember, this is the position of the testis in the scrotum. Okay, now we'll study the external features of the testis. So testis presents with the following features, like it has got two poles. This is the upper pole, this is the lower pole. Upper pole, lower pole, and then the borders. This is the anterior border, this is the posterior border, and two surfaces. Okay, this side is the lateral surface, this side is the medial surface. Why I am saying this is lateral surface? Because towards the posterior border of the testis, you can see there is epididymis. Epididymis is lying over towards the posterior border of the testis. So that's why I can make out this is the posterior border, because the epididymis is there. So this is the posterior border, and this becomes the anterior border. And this side towards, because the epididymis is lying posterolaterally, so this is the lateral surface. This face is the lateral surface, and this is the medial surface. So the external features are the upper pole, the lower pole, the anterior border, the posterior border, the lateral surface, and the medial surface. So that's why I can identify this testis as the right testis, because you can see here, this is the gap here. Okay, this is the gap on the lateral aspect of the testis towards the epididymis. Okay, the testis is separated from the epididymis by the extension of the cavity of the tunica vaginalis, which is called as sinus of epididymis. So the sinus of epididymis is facing laterally. Okay, so with that you can identify this one as right testis. Okay, So this is how you can identify the testis, the sinus of epididymis, okay, which is there posterolaterally. So this is the posterior side and this is the right lateral side. So that's why this testis belongs to the right side. And I will show the left testis. Okay, the left testis. Here once again the external features. So this is the upper pole, this is the lower pole. Okay, and this is the posterior border. Why I am saying this is posterior border? Because you can see here this is sinus of epididymis. Okay, which is there between the testis and the epididymis. So this is, as I told you before, this is posteriorly and laterally. So this has to be the posterior border and this is the lateral side. So this surface has to be lateral surface. And this is the, already you know, this is the anterior border, because this is posterior means it opposite side, this has to be anterior border, this is lateral side. Okay, and this will be opposite to the lateral surface, this is the medial surface. That's how you can now clearly identify this is of the left testis, because the sinus of epididymis is in the posterolateral part of the testis. So this is the lateral side, the posterior side. So when you keep it in the anatomical position, so this has to be left testis. Now you can see both the testes together, so you can easily identify which is right and which is left. So you can see these are the spermatic cords. Okay, this is upper pole, lower pole. This is posterior border because, as I said before, the sinus of epididymis helps you to identify. This is the epididymis, this is the sinus of epididymis, which is facing posteriorly and laterally. So this is right testis, and here the sinus of epididymis is posterior-laterally towards the left. So that's why this is left testis. That's how you will identify right testis and left testis. Okay, once you have studied the external features of the testis, now we will study the coverings of the testis. So there are three coverings of the testis from superficial to deep. One is tunica vaginalis, the outermost, then the tunica albuginea, then tunica vasculosa. Okay, so the tunica vaginalis is nothing but it is a serous sac representing the persistent lower portion of the processus vaginalis. Okay, so in this, what you are seeing here, actually this tunica vaginalis has got two layers, the parietal layer and the visceral layer. In this, already the parietal layer is taken out. Okay, so what you can see here is now this is the visceral layer. As you have studied in the lung, no, even their pleura has got the parietal layer and the visceral layer. Here also the tunica vaginalis has got the parietal layer, which is already taken out. What you are seeing here is the visceral layer, which is attached to the testis itself. So you are seeing the visceral layer of the tunica vaginalis. Once you take out this, the next layer what you will be seeing is the tunica albuginea, which cannot be seen here, but inside, if you cut this, and inside that there will be tunica albuginea. It's a thick, dense layer of fibrous tissue enclosing the testis. And once you cut that, inside to that you will see another layer, that is the tunica vasculosa. As the name suggests, vasculosa, it is related with the blood. Okay, so it is the innermost vascular layer, means it is going to supply the testis, the blood supply. So that's why it is the innermost vascular layer of the testis lining the lobules of the testis. So that is about the tunica vasculosa. So now what you have studied, the coverings of the testis from superficial to deep, there are three coverings. Outermost is the tunica vaginalis, which has got two layers, the parietal layer and the visceral layer. What you can see in this specimen is the visceral layer. Okay, and inside to that there is a tunica albuginea, then inside to that is the tunica vasculosa. So remember please, from superficial to deep, the testis is covered by three layers: tunica vaginalis, albuginea and tunica vasculosa. Now we will study the structure of the testis. So the testis is enclosed by the fibrous capsule. Already I told you. So once you cut this tunica vaginalis, next to that is the tunica albuginea. So that is a fibrous capsule that is going to cover the testis. Okay, and posteriorly the tunica albuginea is thickened to form the incomplete septum or a ridge, which is called as mediastinum testis. And the numerous incomplete fibrous septa extends from the mediastinum to the inner aspect of the tunica albuginea, which divides the interior of the testis into 200 to 300 lobules, and each lobule contains 2 to 4 coiled seminiferous tubules, which are lined by multi-layered germinal epithelium that produces the spermatozoa. Once again you will study the structure of the testis, the interior, okay, in the histology. Okay, now we will talk about the blood supply. So blood supply means it includes both arterial supply and venous drainage. So the blood supply to the testis is coming from the testicular artery. Easy to remember. Testis, the blood supply, the arterial supply is testicular artery, which is arising from abdominal aorta at the level of L2. See, even the testis is situated in the scrotum. Why the blood supply is coming from the abdomen? Because during the testis, okay, during the descent of the testis, okay, the testis descended from the posterior abdominal wall, from the almost approximately from the L2 level. Then it descends down and it comes into the lesser pelvis, and then through the deep inguinal ring, then it enters the inguinal canal, then superficial inguinal ring, and then it comes to the scrotum. So while the descent, even it will, okay, it will drag the blood vessels along with it. So that's why the blood supply to the testis is coming from the abdominal aorta. Both right testicular artery and left testicular artery, they are the branches of the abdominal aorta, which is lying at the level of L2 vertebra. Next, coming to the venous drainage. The venous drainage to the testis is from the Pampiniform plexus of veins. These veins are emerging from the testis, forming a plexus of veins which are called as Pampiniform plexus, which drain the venous blood from the testis. So these Pampiniform plexus ascend up, and at the level of superficial inguinal ring, see, inside this spermatic cord you will be finding the Pampiniform plexus of veins. It's a plexus, like a network of veins. So those ascend towards the superficial inguinal ring inside the spermatic cord, and towards the superficial inguinal ring, all these plexus, the network of veins, they join to form four veins, and these four veins now will travel in through the inguinal canal, and towards the deep inguinal ring, these four veins now join to form two veins, and these two veins further ascend in the abdominal cavity to become the single testicular vein. Thus the testicular vein will be formed, and the right testicular vein will drain into the inferior vena cava, whereas the left testicular vein will drain into the left renal vein. Okay, so remember here, the right testicular vein is drained into the inferior vena cava, whereas the left testicular vein is drained into the left renal vein at a right angle to the left renal vein. Now coming to the lymphatic drainage. The lymphatic drainage to the from the testis is going to the pre and para aortic group of lymph nodes. See here also, why even the testis is located in the scrotum, but the lymphatic drainage is going to the abdomen, in the abdomen, because of the descent. While descent, even the lymphatic channels, lymphatic vessels were also came along with the testis to the scrotum. So that's why the lymphatic drainage to of the testis is to the pre-aortic and para-aortic group of lymph nodes, which are also lying at the level of second lumbar vertebra. So now we'll study the functions of the testis. You know that the function of the testis is mainly to produce the spermatozoa, and also secretes a hormone called as testosterone, which is a male hormone responsible for the development and maintenance of the secondary sexual characters, which is required for the maleness. Okay, so these are the functions of the testis. One thing you remember, the production of the spermatozoa and also the secretion of testosterone. Now we'll study the applied anatomy of the testis. Okay, first thing is the cryptorchidism, means incomplete descent of testis. As I said before, the testis is going to descend from the posterior abdominal wall till the scrotum. So during the testis, it travels through its normal path, but sometimes what will happen, it fails to reach the base of the scrotum, so it might get stuck in between anywhere. So it might get stuck in within the abdomen, or at the deep inguinal ring, or within the inguinal canal, or at the superficial inguinal ring, or at the upper part of the scrotum. So it is not going to descend till the base of the scrotum. It might get stuck in its path during the descent in any of these locations which I just now told. So that condition is called as incomplete descent of testis, or cryptorchidism. If you just divide the word cryptorchidism, crypt means you don't know exactly where the location, means it's in the pathway, it is not completely going to descend. So that's why it is called as cryptorchidism. Orchidism, always usually the term is referred to the testis. Okay, So crypt orchidism means the incomplete descent of testis in its normal path of descent. There is another condition called as ectopic testis. Ectopic means outside the normal path. Okay, so here ectopic testis means there is a mal descent of the testis, means the testis will descend. Okay, while it is descending, it will go to some other place other than its normal path, so it will find its abnormal path. So the testis might be situated, it may descend to the superficial fascia of the lower part of the anterior abdominal wall, or in front of the pubis, or into the perineum, or into the thigh. So the testis will be situated than its normal side. That is called as ectopic testis because of the mal descent of the testis. Then other two conditions like varicocele and hydrocele. Varicocele is nothing but what? It's a clinical condition in which the veins of the pampiniform plexus. What are these pampiniform plexus? These are nothing but the veins which are draining the testis. So these pampiniform plexus, they become dilated, tortuous and elongated. So that condition is called as varicocele. So in a patient of the varicocele, if you feel the varicocele, it appears to be, means it feels like a bag of worms. Okay. Then next condition is hydrocele. Hydrocele is nothing but accumulation of fluid in the tunica vaginalis. As I told you before, the tunica vaginalis has got two layers, the parietal layer and visceral layer. In between them there is a small sac like thing. In that sac like thing, if there is a collection of the fluid, that condition is called as hydrocele. Okay. Sometimes the blood or the pus might be stored in this sac. So if the blood is stored, then that is called as hematocele. If the pus is stored, that is called as pyocele. So that is about the hydrocele condition. Hydrocele is nothing but the accumulation of fluid in the tunica vaginalis between the parietal layer and visceral layer. With that, we have come to the end of the testis. Okay. Thank you.